Deep beneath the surface of a world long abandoned by the curious and the brave, a forgotten structure sleeps beneath layers of rock and dust. It is an ancient underground city, built by hands no one remembers, powered by machines no one can operate, and illuminated only by the faint memories of a civilization that once thrived here. The air is cold, still, and heavy with silence. For centuries, nothing living has stepped inside these corridors. Until today, a small figure moves cautiously among piles of broken metal and collapsed stone. His shell reflects the dim light leaking through cracks in the ceiling. His name is Velmo, and although he has wandered many places in his life, he has never felt a pull as strong as the one that brought him here. Something unseen guided him beneath the old cliffs, through shallow tunnels, past rusted gates, and finally into the heart of this forgotten world. He stops at the edge of a massive hall, so big it almost feels impossible underground. Rows of tall, rust-covered towers stretch into the darkness, their outlines barely visible. Old cables hang from the ceiling like long, dead vines. Dust covers everything like a cold blanket, and yet Velmo senses something beneath that layer of decay, a faint vibration, a hint of warmth, something alive. He listens. At first, there is nothing but silence. Then, slowly, a distant hum reaches him, soft, rhythmic, ancient. It feels like a mechanical heartbeat buried deep within the structure. He doesn't know what it is or why it calls to him, but he cannot turn away. His shell glows faintly, almost responding to the heartbeat with its own pulse. Velmo moves forward, navigating around fallen beams and shattered glass. Each step echoes through the hall, bouncing off the empty metal pillars. Even though he's alone, he never feels unaccompanied. Something in the air watches him, not with eyes, but with presence, as if the entire city were aware of him, as if it had been waiting. The deeper Velmo goes, the more he notices details hidden beneath the dust. Faded symbols carved into the stone floor, gear-shaped patterns on the walls, metal plates with cryptic markings. He pauses at one of them, brushing the surface gently. Beneath the dirt, a symbol shines faintly, a circle divided into 8 equal parts. It feels familiar in a way he can't explain. He pulls back. The symbol flickers with a weak golden light. Velmo's breath catches, or whatever counts as breath for him. This place is not dead. Not completely. He continues moving, following the faint hum growing stronger with every step. The hall narrows into a long corridor lined with tall arches. Broken machines lie scattered on both sides, massive gears, pipes, steam valves, all rusted into stillness. Some pieces look almost biological, as if the technology here was grown rather than built. Velmo touches a round metal sphere lying among the debris. It's cold at first, then, very faintly, warms under his touch. He lets go, startled. As he moves on, the corridor opens into another space, smaller, circular, with a domed ceiling cracked in several places. In the center of the room stands a structure unlike anything he has ever seen. A machine made of metal and stone intertwined, like a ribcage surrounding a hollow core. The core itself is dark, completely devoid of light. But Velmo knows this is where the hum comes from. He can feel it travel through the floor, up the pillars, into his shell. He approaches slowly. The core remains unlit, silent, cold. But the hum grows louder, faster, more focused. Velmo gets the unnerving feeling that the machine is aware of him, that it recognizes his presence. And yet he has no idea what this place is, or why it feels more familiar than anywhere he has ever been. He circles around the structure, examining its details. Thin metallic branches extend from the core to the stone floor. Strange symbols are engraved around the base. The same circle he saw earlier appears again, but this time the 8 segments glow faintly, each a different color. Red, blue, green, gold, silver, purple, white, and black. The colors pulse gently, almost breathing. Velmo hesitates. He isn't sure whether to touch the core or stay away. Before he can decide, the ground beneath him shivers, just slightly, but enough to make him jump. The vibrations are no longer distant. They are right below him. Something is waking up. Something ancient. Something powerful. He backs away a little, unsure if he should flee or stay. But the moment he steps back, the vibrations weaken. When he steps forward again, they grow stronger. It's reacting directly to him. This machine, whatever it is, needs him. Velmo swallows nervously and raises his head to look at the silent core. The darkness inside it now appears deeper, denser, as if it's waiting for a spark. Slowly, almost unwillingly, Velmo moves closer again. His shell shines with a dim blue glow that dances across the metal surface. He stops just a heartbeat away from touching it. The hum grows sharp. A thin line of golden light shoots across the floor, racing in a perfect circle around the room. It climbs up the walls, spreads across the ceiling, then returns to the machine in the center. The entire chamber breathes once, like a giant creature stretching after 1,000 years of sleep. Velmo's pulse races, his shell glows brighter. He knows he should run, but he can't. The golden light reaches the core and disappears inside the darkness. For a moment, nothing happens. Everything falls silent again. Then a soft whisper rises from the machine. Not a voice, but a mixture of metal, air pressure, and faint energy. It feels like the city is speaking to him through the machinery. A second whisper follows, stronger, clearer. Velmo freezes. The air around him grows warmer. He senses movement, not physical, but energetic, like currents shifting, aligning, preparing. He doesn't understand what this place is or why he can hear something that shouldn't exist. But he knows one thing with complete certainty. His arrival here is not an accident. He steps closer to the core. The glow from his shell touches the darkness, and the darkness moves. It reacts like water disturbed by a drop. Rings of faint light ripple outward. The darkness swirls, pulling inward, condensing into a single point of glowing energy. The hum becomes a steady roar, vibrating through the chamber, through the floor, through Velmo himself. He tries to step back, but something invisible holds him in place, something gentle but unbreakable. The point of light expands slowly, and Velmo sees small sparks inside it, shapes forming, dissolving, forming again. Patterns, symbols, memories that are not his. A map of something forgotten by the world. The energy brightens, illuminating the chamber fully for the first time. The machines twitch. Old gears shift slightly. The metal ribs around the core contract like a living organism, and then everything stops. Perfect stillness. The light dims. The hum fades. The machine becomes silent once again. Velmo stands frozen, unsure if he imagined it all. But the faint warmth still radiates through his shell, and the air still carries the feeling of something awakened. He looks at the core. The darkness inside it is no longer empty. It now glows with a faint golden pulse, weak but alive. Velmo doesn't know what this means. He doesn't know what the machine wants. He doesn't know why the city responded to him. But he knows one thing. Something has started. Something far bigger than him. Something that will not stop now that he is here. He takes a slow breath, steadying himself, and turns toward the dark corridor ahead. Whatever lies deeper in this underground city, whatever secrets, dangers, or truths, he must face them, because this place needs him. And for the first time in his life, Velmo feels that he might need it too. Velmo stands in front of the strange machine longer than he expected. The faint golden pulse inside the core continues, steady and slow, like a heartbeat that has just remembered how to beat. He watches the glow carefully. It brightens a little, then dims again, as if it's taking shallow breaths. It feels alive, yet not conscious, like something waking from a long, deep sleep and still trying to understand where it is. He approaches slowly, feeling the cold air shift against his shell. The quiet machine draws him in, not with sound, but with presence. Even the dust in the room seems to move differently around it, as if the entire chamber leans toward the core's pulse. Velmo hesitates, unsure whether he should come closer or step away. But the warmth from earlier still lingers inside him, like a small spark that refuses to fade. He listens. Just silence again. But silence in places like this never truly feels empty. It feels loaded, like something is waiting for the right moment to speak. Velmo's eyes drift toward the symbols carved around the machine. He doesn't understand any of them, yet they feel strangely familiar. He moves along the perimeter, brushing the dust away with gentle motions. Underneath, 8 markings stretch outward like spokes of a wheel, each pointing toward a different direction of the underground city. They glow faintly with different colors, each matching one of the sections he saw earlier on the metal disc. Red, blue, green, gold, silver, purple, white, black. He studies them one by one. When he leans closer to the red marking, the symbol warms slightly. When he moves to the blue one, the air around it cools in response. Each color has its own energy, subtle but noticeable. "What is this place?" he mumbles softly, though his voice barely echoes in the chamber. He steps away from the machine and looks around the room again. Everything is still. Everything is quiet, yet the atmosphere feels different from when he first entered. The air no longer feels dead. It feels alert, like the chamber itself is paying attention. He lets out a slow breath and turns back toward the hallway he came from. There's more to this underground city. Much more. And if this machine awakened because of him, then somewhere deeper inside these ruins, something else might be waiting as well. He approaches the far end of the room where an archway leads to another corridor. The frame of the arch is lined with old metal panels, bent and cracked. Velmo moves closer, ducking under a thick cable hanging from above. When he steps into the corridor, the faint hum from the machine fades behind him, replaced by a cold whisper of air that runs along the walls like a soft warning. He moves forward carefully. The corridor is narrow, lined with pipes that snake along the walls. Some are broken, leaking cold vapor that rises like pale smoke. Others appear melted, as if overwhelmed by immense heat long ago. The stone floor beneath him is cracked in several places, with roots creeping through the gaps. He steps over them slowly, trying to stay silent despite his small size. The deeper he goes, the heavier the air becomes. The faint smell of old oil and rust lingers. Velmo notices the walls shifting from carved stone to smooth metal plating, suggesting that this place had multiple layers of construction, stone first, then machinery added later. He listens again. Nothing but the quiet hiss of leaking pipes. Still, he feels watched. He approaches a doorway on the right. The door is broken, split into 2 jagged halves, one leaning outward, the other still attached to its rusted hinge. Velmo squeezes through the opening into a small room. Inside, he finds remnants of old devices, shattered screens, half-melted circuit panels, twisted metal arms that once belonged to robotic machines. In the corner of the room lies a cluster of round objects, the same shape as the sphere he touched earlier. Most are cracked open, revealing empty interiors that once held something, perhaps components, perhaps energy sources. One sphere remains intact. Velmo approaches slowly. The sphere is dusty, dull, and silent, but when he touches it, it warms again. He pulls his hand back, startled. He waits, touches it again. It warms once more. A small hum vibrates through the sphere, barely audible but undeniably real. Velmo brings his face closer, studying it. There are tiny lines carved into the metal surface, patterns similar to the ones engraved around the core in the chamber. He brushes off more dust, revealing more markings. The sphere gives another faint hum, this time slightly louder. Velmo pauses. Something inside him responds. A weak tug, a strange familiarity, as if whatever sleeps inside the sphere recognizes him. He holds the sphere with both hands. It's heavier than expected. The warmth grows stronger, spreading slowly through the metal. Velmo feels the energy travel up his arms and into his body. It's not painful. It's comforting. Like the first moments of waking up on a cold morning and feeling sunlight touch the skin. The energy disappears just as quickly as it appeared. The sphere goes silent again. Velmo sets it down gently, unsure if he should take it with him. It might be important, but it could also be dangerous. He steps back, thinking. He approaches slowly. He listens. The sphere remains silent. Velmo decides to leave it for now. There is something else calling him deeper into the facility, and he knows he must follow it. He steps back into the corridor. The path stretches ahead, dark and long. Velmo moves forward, navigating around broken panels and collapsed beams. He turns a corner and finds a wide section of the corridor, missing entirely. The ceiling here has collapsed, leaving a large hole filled with rubble. He carefully climbs over the stones, using small footholds where the metal plating still clings to the walls. Once he reaches the other side, he stops to catch his breath. Even though he doesn't breathe like a human, the climb still leaves him with the instinctive feeling of needing a moment to rest. He gazes down the next section of the corridor. Ahead, the walls begin to curve downward, forming a slope leading even deeper into the underground complex. The air grows colder. The lighting dims further, leaving only his shell's faint glow to guide him. He moves slowly, each step echoing softly. At the bottom of the slope, the corridor opens into another chamber. This room is much larger and filled with tall cylindrical tanks lining the walls. Some are shattered, others still sealed. Strange residues cling to the inside of the broken tanks, leaving behind silhouettes of whatever once occupied them. Velmo stares at the shapes. Some appear mechanical, others biological, some a fusion of both. He swallows nervously. This room tells a story he does not want to imagine in detail. Experiments, creations, failures. He moves past the tanks quietly, not wanting to disturb anything that might still remain inside. At the far end of the room, a large gate stands half open, crushed inward by immense force from the other side. Velmo approaches it cautiously. The gate's metal is warped and torn, as if something powerful erupted through it. Beyond the gate, darkness stretches far into the distance. The corridor ahead is wider, its ceiling supported by thick pillars covered in deep claw-like scratches. Velmo freezes when he sees them. Scratches, deep ones, fresh ones. He steps back slightly. Something moved here recently, something alive. The air carries a faint scent, metallic, warm, almost like heated iron. Velmo's heart races. He listens carefully, hoping he does not hear movement. Silence. But silence doesn't comfort him anymore. It feels like a predator holding its breath. He approaches slowly, his shell glowing a little brighter as fear pushes the energy outward. The light reveals more scratches along the walls and floor, some shallow, some deep enough to cut through the stone. Whatever made these marks is not small. He keeps moving, each step softer than the last. His instincts scream at him to turn back, but something deeper, the same force that led him here, pushes him forward. He listens, still nothing. After several minutes of walking, he reaches another chamber. This one is circular with a collapsed ceiling in the center, letting a column of faint bluish light pour into the room from the world above. The light reflects off metallic fragments scattered across the floor. Velmo steps into the center of the room, letting the cold light fall over him. The air here feels different, warmer, lighter, less suffocating. For a brief moment he feels safe. Then he notices something on the ground. A footprint. Not a human footprint, and not a machine's. Something in between. Another footprint, and another, leading toward a narrow tunnel on the other side of the chamber. Velmo's pulse quickens. He approaches the footprints slowly. They are large, much bigger than he expected. The shape is unusual, rounded at the base, but with 3 distinct grooves extending outward like claws. He kneels down and touches the stone near the print. It's warm. He lets go, startled. Whatever made these prints passed through here very recently. Velmo steps back. He looks at the tunnel, then at the footprints, then back at the tunnel again. He listens one more time. Nothing. But silence means nothing now. He knows that. He moves closer to the tunnel entrance, trying to look inside. It stretches long and dark, curving out of sight. Something inside him trembles. Fear mixed with curiosity, survival mixed with instinct. He takes a breath. He approaches slowly, and the moment he steps closer, a faint sound echoes from deep within the tunnel. A soft scrape, a distant metallic click, like something shifting its weight. Velmo's heart drops. He takes one small step back. The sound stops. He waits. The silence returns, thick and motionless. Everything in him wants to run, but something inside him whispers that he cannot. Not yet. He feels connected to this place, connected to the machine, connected to the symbols, connected to whatever is waking beneath the ruins. He swallows, steadies himself, and takes a slow step forward again. The scraping sound returns, closer this time. Velmo freezes. He listens. Another faint metallic click. Then, nothing. He doesn't move. He hardly breathes. The fear is real, heavy, crawling across his shell like cold electricity. But beneath it, another feeling stirs. Something deeper than fear. A sense of purpose. A sense of belonging he cannot explain. Something in this tunnel is part of the reason he was drawn here. He can feel it. He whispers softly to himself, as if to gather courage. I have to know. He steps into the tunnel. The darkness swallows him whole. Velmo moves deeper into the tunnel, one careful step at a time. The air is colder here, tighter, pressed in by stone that feels too close on either side. His shell glows faintly, just enough to push the darkness a short distance away from his body. Beyond that edge, the tunnel seems endless, like a throat swallowing light. He listens. At first, he hears only the soft tap of his own movement, the tiny drag of dust under him. Then, somewhere ahead, the faint sound returns. A scrape, a shift, something brushing against stone. It is not loud, but in this narrow place, every sound feels magnified. Velmo slows down. He doesn't call out. He doesn't dare. The tunnel curves slightly to the left. The further he walks, the more the air changes. It smells less like rust and old machines here, and more like something else. Warm, sharp, faintly metallic, like heated iron after it's been hammered and left to cool. It reminds him of the warped gate he passed earlier, the one that looked like it had been ripped apart from the inside. He pauses. He listens again. Silence creeps back, thick and heavy. He moves forward anyway. His mind races with questions he can't answer. What is this place, really? Who built it? Why does the machine respond to him? And what is moving down here in the dark, long after its creators are gone? The tunnel narrows further before opening into a slightly wider passage. The floor here is smoother, less broken. Lines are carved into the stone, parallel grooves running along the length of the corridor, like tracks for something heavy that used to roll or slide here. Velmo examines them as he continues, his light flickering over the edges of the grooves. He notices marks crossing the lines. Scratches. Deep ones. The same claw-like gouges he saw back in the bigger chamber. They cut across the grooves in chaotic patterns, suggesting something had moved against the flow of whatever once traveled here. He swallows. His shell glows brighter without him meaning to. He feels exposed in the open space of the corridor, yet trapped at the same time. There's no real room to escape if something appears from ahead or from behind. He forces himself not to look back too often. The tunnel slopes downward again, slowly, almost casually, as if trying not to draw attention to how far below the surface they are now. Velmo feels the weight of stone above him, layers and layers of earth pressing down. It's like walking under the bottom of an ocean made of rock. He turns another corner. The sound comes again, this time closer. A slow scrape, a dragging noise, something heavy shifting its weight on stone. Velmo's body stiffens, his legs freeze, his shell's glow jerks brighter, and then dims again as panic wrestles with caution inside him. He listens as hard as he can. The noise stops, then starts again, a little nearer. He can't tell if it's moving toward him or just turning in place. The tunnel curves ahead, hiding whatever is making the sound. The not knowing feels worse than seeing it outright. Velmo presses himself closer to the wall, lowering his body as if making himself smaller will help. His heart, whatever form it takes, beats fast in his chest. He can feel the rhythm of his fear pulsing along with the light in his shell. He considers turning back. He could return to the machine, to that central chamber, to the parts of this place that feel strange but not actively dangerous. But something deeper pulls him forward. The same force that led him into the underground city still tugs at him now. It's not a voice. It's not even a clear thought. It's more like a direction built into his bones, a feeling that the answers he seeks about himself, about the city, about the connection between them, lies somewhere ahead, not behind. He takes a slow breath and moves forward once more. The air feels thicker the closer he gets to the curve ahead. Each step feels loud now, no matter how lightly he tries to move. The tiny sounds he makes bounce off the walls and come back to him in distorted echoes. He approaches the bend in the tunnel. He can feel it on the other side, whatever it is. He stops just before the corner. He listens. No movement now. Only silence. He waits, hoping that if he stands still long enough, the thing ahead will move again and reveal something about itself. But the silence stretches out. It doesn't sound like safety. It sounds like someone else is listening too. He gently lowers himself even closer to the ground and peers around the edge of the wall, just enough to see. The tunnel opens into another chamber. It's not large, not like the huge halls above. It's more like a maintenance room with low ceilings and thick cables running along the walls. There are overturned metal crates scattered across the floor, shattered pieces of glass, and collapsed shelving units that once held something important. The whole room feels like a forgotten storage area, buried deeper than anyone needed to come in a long time. At first, he doesn't see anything moving. His eyes scan the floor, the walls, the shadows. There, near the far side of the room, something shifts. A large shape hunched low, partly hidden behind one of the overturned crates. Velmo sees the curve of a back, the faint glint of something metallic, the slow movement of something breathing. He holds his breath. The creature is still for a moment, then one of its limbs shifts again, scraping lightly against the floor. It's not fully machine. It's not fully alive in the way he understands. It's something in between. Velmo remains perfectly still. His light flickers. The creature's head, or what he assumes is its head, lifts slightly. He glimpses the shape of it, elongated, armored with small channels along the sides that glow faintly with dull orange light. It doesn't have eyes in the way he expects, but something in its design suggests awareness. The glow pulses, almost like slow simmering anger or pain. Velmo tries not to move. He tries not to even think too loudly. The creature turns just enough that Velmo catches more of its form. Its body is built from segmented plates of metal and some kind of hardened material that resembles bone. Cables run along its limbs like tendons. Sharp grooves along its side match the claw marks he saw in the previous corridors. But some of its parts are broken. One of its legs drags when it moves, leaving faint, uneven marks in the dust. It's hurt. The realization doesn't make it any less dangerous, but it does make it sad somehow. Velmo watches as it shifts its weight and tries to stand fully. The movement is unsteady, accompanied by a grinding noise from somewhere in its joints. It lifts its head more, the faint orange glow along its sides brightening and then fading as it steadies itself. And then the glow changes. It flickers uncertainly, then focuses. Not on the wall, not on the floor. On him. Velmo's shell glow has betrayed his position. The creature goes completely still. So does he. For a long moment, nothing happens. They simply face one another, one small, one large, one mostly organic, one mostly constructed. Then the creature shifts its weight again, taking one slow step forward. The scraping noise he heard earlier returns, louder now. It drags its injured leg slightly, causing a shower of dust to fall from the ceiling. Velmo wants to back away, but his body refuses to move. Some mixture of terror and fascination holds him frozen in place. He's never seen anything like this, not in any of his travels, not in any of the stories he's overheard or imagined. The creature takes another step. It's not moving fast, it's not charging, it's approaching, testing, gauging. Velmo's shell glows brighter in response, automatically, like a defensive reflex. The creature pauses. The orange glow along its sides flickers again, then stabilizes. It tilts its head slightly as if trying to interpret what it's seeing. Velmo feels an idea forming in his mind. It's reckless, but it's all he has. Instead of stepping back, he takes one small step forward. The chamber seems to hold its breath. The creature doesn't react immediately. It remains where it is, head tilted, light pulsing slowly. Velmo gathers whatever courage he has left and takes another step. His glow softens, not as bright, not as sharp. He tries to look less like a threat and more like something else. He doesn't know what it understands, if anything. But something changes in the way it stands. The tension in its limbs softens slightly. The harsh, defensive angle of its head lowers a little. The light along its sides fades from sharp to softer, more confused than aggressive. Velmo stops a safe distance away, close enough to see details, but far enough to run if he absolutely has to. He doesn't speak. He simply stands there, glowing gently, letting the creature see him. Seconds stretch into long, quiet moments. The creature eventually lowers itself again, settling its injured leg in a more comfortable position. It doesn't lie down completely, but it crouches as if to show it won't charge. Its head turns slowly toward the far wall, then back to Velmo, as if it can't decide whether he's important or not. Velmo notices something else. Behind the creature, half hidden by metal debris, there's another machine. Smaller than the core he awakened earlier, but similar in its design. Stone and metal intertwined, cables running along the floor, symbols etched into its base. This one, however, is clearly broken. Cracks spiderweb along its surface, and whatever core it once held is now dark and empty. The creature is close to it, guarding it, or mourning it, or both. Velmo wonders if these things were created to protect the city, or if they were created for something else and then abandoned down here when the city fell. He wonders if this one remembers anything of its purpose, or if it just wakes and moves and defends and survives on instinct, like a wounded animal trapped in a frozen world. He takes a tiny step closer. The creature shifts again, but not as violently as before. He approaches slowly, every muscle in his small body tense, ready to bolt if it lunges. The air seems to thicken with each inch he crosses. His glow brightens just enough to reveal more of the machine behind the creature. The engraved circle with 8 sections appears yet again on its side, though this time only 2 of the segments glow faintly, blue and orange. Blue like him, orange like the creature. He stares at the symbol, feeling that strange pull inside his chest again, the feeling of recognition, of connection. The creature follows his gaze. It looks at the symbol too. For a moment, Velmo feels something soft pressing against the edge of his thoughts. Not words, not images, just pressure. Like someone standing on the other side of a frosted window, placing their hand against the glass. He feels a brief flash of emotion that isn't his own. Pain, loneliness, duty. He gasps quietly. The creature turns its head toward him again, its glow flickering faster, almost anxiously. Its body remains tense, caught between fight and something else. Velmo doesn't know how, but he feels certain now. This thing is not just a mindless guardian. It remembers that it was made for a purpose. It remembers the city when it was alive. It remembers being part of something greater than itself. And now that system is gone, and it doesn't know what to do except cling to whatever pieces remain. He takes another small step forward. "I won't hurt you," he whispers. His voice trembles, but there is honesty in it. The creature doesn't understand his words, at least not directly, but maybe it understands the tone, the posture, the lack of aggression. It doesn't move for a while, then slowly lowers its head just a little. The orange glow softens once more. Velmo glances back at the broken machine behind it. 2 segments glowing, blue and orange. He thinks of the other chamber, the core, the 8 colors pulsing faintly in a circle. He realizes something. Whatever energy once flowed through this city, it wasn't meant to move through machines alone. It needed connections, links, pairs, networks, blue, orange, him, this creature. The thought makes him feel small again, but in a different way. Not small like insignificant, small like one piece of a pattern he's only beginning to see. His shell hums faintly with a soft vibration that wasn't there before. He doesn't force it. It happens on its own. His blue light brightens, then stabilizes in a gentle, calm glow. The creature flinches at the change, then relaxes when the glow doesn't explode or hurt it. The orange light along its sides responds. It flickers, then sinks, matching the rhythm of Velmo's light pulse. For a few seconds, they glow together, blue and orange, in time. Velmo feels that pressure at the edge of his thoughts again, stronger now, softer but more defined. He closes his eyes for a moment, allowing the feeling to pass through him instead of resisting it. Shapes appear briefly in his mind. A large hall filled with machines and lights, rows of creatures like this one, standing tall, their armor shining. A city alive with energy running through cables and pillars and streets. Voices, movement, warmth, then darkness, silence, collapse. He opens his eyes sharply, breathless. The images vanish as quickly as they came, leaving only the wounded creature in front of him and the broken machine at its back. He realizes he's shaking. The creature watches him. Its head tilts again, slower this time, as if studying his reaction. It doesn't push more images into his mind. It just waits. Velmo takes another breath. His fear hasn't disappeared, but something stronger now sits beside it. Understanding. "You remember," he says softly. "You remember when this place was alive." The creature doesn't answer, but it doesn't need to. The faint glow in its channels is enough. He looks again at the broken machine. If the core he awakened earlier was part of the city's heart, then this smaller device is like a damaged nerve, something that once connected parts of the system together. Blue and orange being the only segments, still faintly lit. Maybe, he thinks, he can help repair something here. Not with tools, not with metal or wires, but with whatever is inside him, whatever made the main core respond, whatever made this creature's light sync with his. The thought scares him. He doesn't know what he's doing. He could make things worse. He could break something permanently. But if he does nothing, the city will remain dead. This creature will remain alone, and the connection he feels will go unanswered. He steps closer to the broken machine. The creature shifts, a reflexive movement, but doesn't block him. It watches intently, light flickering. Velmo raises a trembling hand and places it gently against the cracked surface of the device. The stone-metal texture is cold at first, then gradually warms, the same way the sphere did earlier. He closes his eyes. He doesn't know exactly what he is trying to do. He only knows he must focus on that feeling inside him, that strange, humming presence that has grown stronger since he entered the city. He imagines it flowing outward, like light through water. His shell responds. The blue glow intensifies, spreading up his arm and into his hand. The light passes from him into the cracked surface of the machine. At first, nothing seems to happen. Then, very slowly, the cracks begin to glow from within, tracing bright lines along their shapes. The device vibrates faintly. Dust shakes free and falls in thin streams from its edges. The creature makes a low sound, not a growl, not exactly, but something like a pained exhale and a hopeful gasp mixed together. Velmo keeps his hand on the machine, even as his body trembles with the effort. The blue segment of the familiar circle brightens. The orange segment follows. He feels something connect between him and the creature. Not a full bridge, just a line. A thin, fragile thread of energy tying them to the same pulse. Then, suddenly, his arm burns with overstimulation. His shell sparks, light flickering wildly. The device hums too loudly, shaking hard enough to rattle the floor. It's too much. Velmo pulls his hand away with a gasp. The light snaps. The thread breaks. The machine falls silent again. He stumbles back, dizzy. The chamber goes dim once more, leaving only the fragile glow of his shell and the creature's orange light. The energy that surged through him fades, but a faint ache remains in its place, like a muscle pushed beyond its limit. He pants, steadying himself. He looks at the broken device, afraid he might have damaged it further. But something has changed. The cracks still glow faintly from within, not bright, but more than before. The blue and orange segments of the circle remain lit, no longer flickering in and out. A soft hum persists inside the stone-metal structure, quiet but steady. The creature steps a little closer to it. One of its limbs touches the base, gently, almost reverently. The orange light along its body warms, flowing in smoother patterns. It lifts its head slightly, the tension in its frame reduced. Velmo watches. He realizes he didn't fix the machine completely, but he didn't fail either. He awakened something inside it, something partial, something enough. He lets out a shaky laugh of relief. "I don't know what I'm doing," he whispers, more to himself than anything. "But I think I'm supposed to be here." The creature turns its head toward him again, as if agreeing. Velmo takes this as a sign. If he can help this small part of the city, maybe there are other places where he can do more. Other cores, other devices, other guardians. Maybe this whole underground world is waiting for someone with whatever strange energy he carries inside him. Someone like him. He realizes then that he's no longer just a visitor. He's becoming part of this place. The thought is both thrilling and terrifying. He glances back toward the tunnel. There is still more ahead. More corridors, more chambers, more secrets, and possibly more creatures. Some may be as wounded as this one. Some may be more hostile. But now he knows he's not completely helpless. He has something the city responds to. And the city has something he needs. Answers. He gives the creature one last look. It doesn't step closer. It doesn't step away. It simply watches him go, orange light steady, closer to calm than when he first saw it. He nods to it, a small gesture of respect, and turns back toward the darkness beyond the doorway. He walks. His shell glows softly, no longer just a faint survival light, but a moving piece of this ancient system slowly waking up around him. The city is no longer just ruins and machines. It is a sleeping giant, and he has just nudged one of its eyes open. The deeper he goes, the more he feels it. The faint hum beneath the ground, the pulsing energy in the air, the presence of other cores, other nodes, scattered like distant heartbeats within stone. Somewhere ahead, the true center of this forgotten city waits for him. And somewhere beyond that, the truth about why he was drawn here at all. He keeps moving, step by step, deeper into the unknown. The development of his journey has only just begun. Velmo steps out of the narrow tunnel and feels the air shift around him in a way he hasn't felt before. It's heavier here, but warmer too, almost like the underground city itself is exhaling after holding its breath for far too long. Behind him, the dim orange glow from the wounded creature fades until it becomes nothing more than a tiny point of light swallowed by the shadows. He pauses for a moment, knowing he helped something that was alone in the dark for decades, maybe centuries. But he also knows this was only the beginning, whatever he awakened in those chambers. It's spreading. He walks forward cautiously. The new corridor is wider than anything he's encountered so far, vast, towering, ancient. The walls curve inward slightly, thick arcs of stone fused with old machinery. Heavy cables stretched like tendons across the ceiling. Every once in a while, Velmo thinks he sees one of them tremble, as if faint currents of energy are flowing through them for the first time in ages. The vibrations beneath the floor are stronger, too. Not dangerous, just alive. It feels like the deeper he goes, the more the city awakens around him. He follows the corridor until it widens again, opening into a colossal chamber. He stops as soon as he steps inside, stunned by the scale of it. The ceiling is so high he cannot see the top. The walls stretch outward in a perfect circle, forming a dome the size of a forgotten world. Dozens of massive pillars rise from the floor to support the dome, though many are cracked or leaning. Long trails of dust fall from above like thin curtains. Velmo's small blue glow reflects off metal surfaces scattered across the room. Some of them look like ancient machines, others like structures built around something organic. But everything feels centered around the massive shape ahead of him. In the middle of the chamber stands the largest structure he has ever seen since entering the underground city. It rises like a monument, an enormous core wrapped in curved metal spines that resemble the ribcage of a giant creature. Each metallic rib curves upward and inward, connecting to a dark, spherical center suspended in place. The sphere is pitch black, absorbing rather than reflecting Velmo's light. It radiates no energy, no sound, no warmth. But Velmo can feel it, watching him. He approaches slowly. His steps echo faintly across the vast chamber. The air grows humider as he gets closer, as if the center of the room still holds traces of whatever power once lived here. The vibrations from the floor intensify, but they feel more focused now, like they're being pulled toward the dark sphere. Velmo stops just a few meters away. He listens. At first, nothing, but then a faint whisper of energy. Not sound, not words, just a soft pulse, weak, tired, almost pleading. Velmo's shell glows in response automatically, without him trying. The light spreads gently across the metal floor, illuminating intricate patterns carved beneath him. The same circle pattern he's seen before, 8 sections, 8 colors, appears on the ground around the core. Only 2 segments glow faintly, blue and orange. The others remain dark. Velmo realizes this is no coincidence. The machine he partially awakened earlier, the wounded creature, the core in the first chamber, they are pieces of a larger system. This place is the center of it all, the heart, the true core that once powered the entire underground city. But now, like the creature he met, it is broken, lost, not fully dead, but far from alive. He walks closer. The sphere doesn't move, but something beneath its surface stirs like a distant heartbeat struggling to return. Velmo feels his own heartbeat match it. He raises a hand slowly and places it near the dark surface, not touching, but close enough for his light to touch it. The moment his glow reaches it, the sphere reacts. Faint streaks of color pulse deep inside the blackness, almost like tiny threads of fire awakening under water. Velmo gasps quietly. The sphere reacts more. Sparks of red, green, purple, silver, white, black. All flare weakly, like stars struggling to ignite. He steps back in shock. The core feels him. It knows him. It's calling him. A sharp vibration runs through the chamber. Dust falls from the ceiling. The metallic ribs around the sphere shift, groaning like old bones. Velmo steadies himself, unsure whether the city is collapsing or waking up. The ground stops shaking, and for a moment, the entire chamber grows painfully still. Velmo doesn't breathe. He listens again. A faint hum rises from beneath the floor. Not mechanical, more like a heartbeat. Slow, heavy, as if something ancient is trying to lift itself from a deep sleep. He feels fear creep up his spine, but the fear is mixed with something else. Recognition. His light grows brighter without him meaning to. It spreads like a halo across the floor, illuminating the carvings, the pillars, the machine. He approaches the sphere again, slower this time. His movements are steady, careful, almost gentle, as if approaching a wounded giant. The sphere responds. A soft flash ripples across its surface, then another, faster. Velmo lifts one hand and rests it gently on the metal just below the sphere. The surface is cold, colder than anything in the city, colder than the tunnels he came from. But the moment he touches it, the coldness breaks. Heat pulses outward. The entire chamber trembles. His shell glows so brightly that it fills the room with blue light. He tries to pull back, but the energy from the sphere holds him. Not physically, but through the same invisible connection he felt with the creature. A thread links him to the core, fragile but undeniable. He hears something in the back of his mind. Not words, not images, just emotion, loneliness, decay, years of silence, and beneath it all, hope. The core is begging him, not for power, not for control, just for a chance to breathe again. Velmo steadies himself. He closes his eyes. He lets the energy inside him rise as it did before. His blue light pours into the sphere. The first pulse is gentle, the second one stronger. The third one roars like a lightning strike. The chamber explodes with color. Red ignites along the floor. Green spirals up the pillars. Purple lightning races across the ceiling. Silver veins ripple across the metallic ribs. White blooms from the cracks in the stone. Black weaves like ink across the sphere's surface. The entire city wakes up. Velmo stumbles back, overwhelmed by the surge. His vision blurs. He collapses to one knee as the energy drains out of him. The sphere glows like a newborn star. The ribs retract, opening like petals of a metal flower blooming after 1,000 years of winter. He hears something again, clearer this time. A voice, not mechanical, not human. Something older, something fused with stone and circuitry and memory. Connected. Velmo looks up, breath shaking in his chest. You are connected. He tries to stand, but his legs tremble. The energy he gave nearly emptied him, but the core continues speaking, not in words exactly, but in meanings shaped through vibration and presence. Velmo sees flashes of the past in his mind, the city alive, creatures like the wounded guardian moving in lines in bright halls, light flowing through the core like rivers of energy, voices communicating across distances in seconds, machines breathing like living beings, harmony, purpose, unity of metal and life. Then, a rupture, a collapse, light dying section by section, the core falling silent, creatures trapped in shadows, the city shutting down, everything fading. Velmo gasps. The memories vanish. He understands now. He isn't just someone who wandered here by accident. He is part of the system, part of the ancient energy the city was built around. He is the missing link. The core dims slightly, settling into a calmer rhythm. Velmo slowly gets to his feet, staring at the sphere as its glow softens into a steady, healthy pulse. The energy in the chamber calms as well, like the city taking its first real breath in centuries. Velmo feels that breath inside himself. The sphere flickers. Another message forms in his mind. More awaits. Velmo turns around slowly, looking at the far end of the chamber. Another path, another door, hidden until now. It begins to open with a deep grinding sound. The city is guiding him further. He realizes something chilling and breathtaking all at once. This was not the end. This was not even the true core. This was only the awakening. And beyond that door lies the truth about what the city was, why it fell, and what Velmo truly is. Velmo takes one slow step forward. His shell glows steadily, not flickering now, but pulsing in perfect harmony with the heart he just restored. He breathes in the warm air of the chamber. He steadies himself. He walks toward the opening door. Whatever lies ahead, he is ready to face it. Velmo steps toward the newly revealed passage, feeling the tremor of shifting metal under his feet. Behind him, the awakened core pulses steadily, its glow reflecting off the walls like a heartbeat spreading through the veins of the ancient city. The chamber that moments ago felt dead now hums with a quiet, living energy. Even the air has changed, warmer, lighter, carrying the faint sense of renewal. He takes another step. The new corridor ahead is narrow at first, framed by thick steel plates covered in dust. The door continues sliding open, revealing a tunnel he had no idea existed before the awakening. The deeper it opens, the more a soft golden shimmer appears along the walls, as if the city itself is lighting the path for him. Velmo hesitates. The sphere's voice still echoes faintly in his mind. More awaits. He knows this isn't just an ending. It's a beginning folded inside an ending. He approaches slowly, listening for any sign of danger. The city is awake, yes, but not everything that stirs in the dark is friendly. He learned that earlier. Still, some strange instinct pushes him onward. Whatever lies beyond this passage is part of why he was drawn here in the first place. The corridor slopes downward. He can feel heat drifting upward from somewhere far below, though it's not uncomfortable. More like the warmth of sun touching cold stone after a long night. The deeper he goes, the clearer the heat becomes, almost rhythmic, like a faint second heartbeat under the city's main pulse. He listens closely. The rhythm grows stronger. The tunnel opens into a vast downward spiral, an enormous circular ramp carved into stone but reinforced with metal beams. Lights embedded along the outer wall flicker to life as Velmo approaches, one by one, forming a golden trail that spirals into the depths. He follows it. Each level he descends feels slightly different. The upper levels have rows of empty conduits built into the walls, once used to carry energy upward. Further down, the architecture shifts from mechanical to almost organic shapes. Curved designs in the walls look like fossilized tendons or hardened arteries, as if the city was grown rather than built. Velmo's shell pulses with quiet recognition. This place was built with the energy he carries, energy that isn't entirely technological. He keeps descending. The warm pulse beneath him gets stronger, more defined, no longer a faint echo, but a steady, slow rhythm. It reminds him of the core he awakened, but deeper, heavier, older. Whatever lies below is not just a part of the city, it is the foundation. Velmo reaches the bottom of the spiral. The chamber here is enormous, far larger than the previous one. It almost feels like stepping into the inside of a planet, round, endless, echoing with a low hum that rattles his bones. In the center of the floor, bathed in a soft golden glow, lies another structure. This one is different. It is not mechanical like the core above. It is not organic like the wounded guardian. It is something in between, fused so perfectly that Velmo cannot see where stone ends and metal begins. It rises from the ground like the trunk of an ancient tree made of silver and gold. Branch-like structures extend outward into the floor, sinking into the stone like roots. At the top, instead of a sphere, there is a hollow circular frame filled with swirling darkness, alive, shifting, forming patterns that appear then vanish. Velmo freezes at the sight. This structure is awake, fully awake. It is watching him. His shell glows involuntarily. The swirling darkness reacts instantly. It stretches, reaches, almost like a hand leaning toward warmth. Velmo steps back, startled, but the darkness pauses, waiting, not attacking, not threatening, just waiting. Velmo approaches carefully again. He listens. A sound vibrates through the chamber, deeper than anything he's heard in the city. Not a hum, not a mechanical pulse. A voice. We remember. Velmo nearly collapses at the weight of it. The voice floods his mind, soft yet unimaginably old. We remember the light. We remember the eight. We remember the link. Velmo takes a cautious step forward. The swirling darkness ripples as if sensing his movement. He feels the presence of ancient intelligence, vast, patient, and sorrowful. He whispers shakily, What are you? The answer comes slowly, heavy with age. We are the origin, the first source, the foundation upon which the city was born. Velmo's heartbeat pounds in his ears. This is it, the heart of everything, the place where all pathways converge, the beginning of the energy that flows through him. The voice continues. You carry what remains of us, our echo, our spark. Velmo's breath stutters. His shell glows brighter without his control. But why me? He asks softly. The golden lines in the floor pulse. Because you survived the fall, because your kind endured, because you are the last link to what we once were. Velmo's knees nearly give out. His kind? The last? He never knew where he came from, never understood why he felt different, why his shell glowed, why he heard things others couldn't. Now he knows. He is a descendant of this place, of this ancient energy, of this city that once lived and breathed like a giant organism. He swallows hard as the voice continues. We are dying. The core above has awakened, but the roots are fading. He looks at the massive trunk-like structure. He sees cracks, thin at first, then deeper. Energy leaks from them like warm light trying to escape before it fades entirely. The voice softens. Help us breathe again, restore us, and you will restore yourself. Velmo breathes shakily. He feels an ache in his chest. Not fear, recognition. He steps closer to the swirling darkness. It moves toward him again, gently, almost curiously. He lifts his hand. The entire chamber trembles. The golden roots pulse once, weakly. The swirling darkness pulls inward, forming a tight spiral. Light rises from the floor like thin strands of silk. Velmo's shell glows brighter than it ever has. He hesitates. He knows what will happen if he touches it. This will drain him, maybe break him, maybe change him forever. But he also knows if he doesn't do this, the city dies, the guardian creatures die. The energy he carries will fade. Everything connected to this ancient world will collapse. He takes a breath. He closes his eyes, and he reaches forward. The darkness touches him. The world erupts. Light bursts through the chamber like a star being born underground. Velmo is lifted off the floor, weightless, engulfed in brilliant blue and gold. The roots explode with color, rushing outward like lightning veins across the stone. The cracks seal as energy surges through them. The trunk brightens and spreads warmth across the entire space. Velmo screams, not in pain but in overwhelming intensity. The energy flows through every part of him. His shell pulses faster than his heartbeat. The swirling darkness wraps around him like a cocoon of pure creation. Images flash in his mind. The city at its peak. 8 guardians standing in a circle. Velmo's ancestors glowing like him. The first collapse. Chaos. Silence. The long night. Then, a spark. A tiny glowing creature wandering the world above, carrying the last fragment of the ancient energy. Velmo realizes that spark was his lineage. He is the last survivor of the original link. And now, he is reconnecting the chain. The energy peaks. A brilliant pulse explodes outward. And then, silence, warmth, breath. Velmo lands gently on the floor. The swirling darkness has transformed. No longer dark, no longer empty. It is now filled with living light. The voice speaks one last time, softer than ever. The city lives, and so do you, chosen link. Velmo raises his head slowly. His shell glows steady, deep, powerful, not flickering, not afraid, alive. He looks toward the passages leading upward. He can feel the awakened hum of the city above, the guardians stirring, the cores reconnecting, the walls breathing. He feels the weight of it all, and the responsibility. He stands, steady, confident. Whatever lies ahead, the world above, new dangers, new answers. He is no longer lost. He has purpose, and the underground city, newly awakened, watches him with the warmth of a home he never knew he had.